What are you doing here? You're supposed to be in quarantine.
Oh my God.
But wow.
He's still doing it. The quarantine's
For
over,
3
Jess.
months. Quarantine will never end.
It's already over.
It's looking. It isn't over. But while you're here, I think I should let you know that today's show is brought to you by the extremely kind donations by our donors over at Patreon. Andrew, what's Patreon and who's donating to us?
Oh boy, Patreon is where you go if you want to donate to us. Who doesn't know what Patreon is? You're on the internet, right? Everyone and their mother has a Patreon at this point. Okay.
I know my mother does.
Patrons...
Wait, no, she has an OnlyFans. Hold on.
Oh no.
Are we giving out OnlyFans information now?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Leave your
sorry. I'll save my coupon code for later.
Perfect. Our current patrons are Terry Edelman, Max Luning, Benjamin Lear, Lily Ackles, John Donna, Taryn the Duck, the fantastic Jess Lightning, Ewan Cassidy, Haley McDonald, Teskier, Fire of September, Mina Maniri, Monica Thoreau, Brent Black, Haley Murray, Alice in Wonderland, B-Way Flicks, Nathaniel Stacey Coombe, Joseph Evans Green, Luna Rocks 222, Irigale Drouet Whiter, Carrie Ahern, Christine Malmadel, Mezzanine Theater Diary, Mary Lou Choquette, Ann Nunnally, Cole Birchfield, John Vanales, Holy Sticality, Russ Walker, Musical Hell, Emily Grace, Andrew Van Barson, Emily Stack, Kyle Summers, Mr. B, Janae C, Kyle, Christina Francis, Jessica A, Skylar, Liz Lim, Corey Wilmarth, and Allison Stuller.
Just make those names harder as you guys go. Just feel free to change them to even harder things.
Someone to defeat Irigale Drouet Whiter. I need that.
Just give us like a barcode as
give
the
us,
name.
like,
but these folks
give us to us in binary.
Yes. But these folks give us a little extra financial support that helps us keep the lights on here at Musicals with Cheese. And they're getting tons of fun perks such as patron-only commentaries, a full-blown extra podcast of us watching Glee episode by episode.
Which is so fun.
And tons of other cool...
Stop it.
It's so great.
No.
Yes.
What? Holy crap. Well, I am subscribing. Thank you for that spell.
It is a horrible nightmare every week.
If you hate us as much as we hate ourselves.
That's amazing.
Oh, and it's just ramping up with the Leah Michelle stuff. I'm sure more stuff is going to come out.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
That's gonna be so good.
But that's all on Patreon. So come join us over there. All right, let's get on to the real show. Hello, I'm Jesse McAnally.
And I'm Andrew DeWolf.
And welcome to Musicals with Cheese, a podcast where I try to get Andrew to like musical theater. And today we've got a super special guest.
Oh my goodness, the specialist guest.
The specialist of special guests. Today we are joined by podcaster, actor, comedian, playwright, and as said in her Twitter bio, I'm just stealing this, winner of a Wallace Shawn lookalike contest, Grace Aki.
Look. Listen, when you have a likeness for someone, you might as well capitalize. And I've never physically, emotionally, maybe even sexually, likened myself to anyone else besides Wallace Shawn. So there you have it.
Thing is, like, as soon as I saw that, I started stalking. I was like, "What do you mean? And to be honest, I don't see it."
Well, that's your own opinion.
Jess
as
doesn't
a man.
see
My
it.
opinion.
I just want to say.
Jess is coming in here crashing the
My mom
party.
sees him in me.
Like, no, you don't look like that. Oh well.
Well, you know what? We can all have dreams, Andrew. We can all have dreams.
My dream is I wish I looked like anyone. I don't see it on me.
Oh no.
I don't see it, period.
Exactly.
I think it's inconceivable.
Inconceivable.
Oh!
It all came together.
All right, I gotta go.
All right. So, Grace, I'm going to break tradition. Usually I ask Andrew what we're talking about this week, but what are we talking about this week, Grace?
Oh, we're talking about the Tony snubbed musical, Waitress.
The many award-nominated musical Waitress.
Yes, Jesse Mueller's Waitress.
The day starts like the rest we've seen, another carbon copy of an old routine.
Days keep coming,
One out, one in, they keep coming.
And make that coffee strong enough to chew.
I don't know what I wish I had, but there's no time now for thinking things like that. We got too much to do, all these same things. We're always opening up, letting the day in. Over a cup, we'll say hello. How you been? Looking around.
But Waitress is a musical with music and lyrics by Sara Bareilles and a book by Jessie Nelson. The musical is based on the 2007 film of the same name.
No! No!
Why?
Written by Adrienne Shelley, it tells the story of Jenna Hunterson, a baker and waitress in an abusive relationship with her husband Earl. After Jenna unexpectedly becomes pregnant, she begins an affair with her doctor, Dr. Jim Pomatter. Looking for ways out of
Pomatter,
shoot!
This guy.
See, it's one of those things where I've
can't
listened to the
read.
album 1,000 times and only seen the show once.
That's fine. That's totally fine. I had to tell you.
Pomatter. And I've seen the original film once. But basically, she just wants out of her troubles, and she sees a pie baking contest, and its grand prize as her chance to get out of that world. So I'm curious, just feeling the world. Have we seen the original 2007 film, either of you?
No.
Yes.
It's a rough watch now, only because of the sad world around it, and I'm very thankful for the Waitress musical kind of bringing it back out of that kind of sadness and being able to view it in a more objective way.
What's wrong with the film? Like, why is it sad?
The film's director was murdered right before it came out, like the writer, director, and star.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Well, that's
It's really, really sad. And she's in the film and her daughter's in the film, so just watching it, you just can't help but feel sad. And what is really just a pleasant romantic comedy. In a way. It has a happy ending, so I'm like,
so pleasant.
and it's got laughs.
There is nothing more pleasant than domestic violence.
I was gonna say, I don't know if that's the right bow to tie around it. But no, definitely. I mean, like, it's so troubling that this writer, actress, director, her this amazing movie, kind of giving like a really accurate depiction of like domestic abuse, gets brutally murdered by a 19-year-old that tried to stage a suicide for her. So the fact that they were able to like take that and be like, all right, we're going to honor it, and then we're going to put it on the stage. It's kind of amazing.
And this is one of those rare like movie to musical adaptations that isn't like profiting off of an IP, so to say. This is an idea that you can feel the love behiand.
Right.
I didn't even know there was a movie.
Yes.
So like
It's
now.
very good.
There you go.
Hey, but you know what? That's kind of good, because like sometimes I feel like there's these iconic, because it's not a B-list movie, but it's like it was an independent film, right?
Yes.
But like you take these big movies that like Mrs. Doubtfire, and then you try to put it on stage, and people are like, "What?"
Like Back to the Future, like that would be ridiculous.
Oh God.
They are doing that. They are doing that. They'll do anything.
Money time. Anything that make money.
Yes.
So I'm going to turn to Andrew right now, because Andrew just watched this earlier, and forgive us for living that bootleg life.
Hey, however you have to do this.
Because we're in a deep, dark world. So Andrew, what did you think about it on your initial watch of the musical?
It was actually quite a bit better than I was expecting. Not that I was expecting it to be bad, but it was actually really good. I quite enjoyed it. I remember, like, I went to New York City last year, and there was advertisements for this all over the place, and there was people in Times Square, like, dressed as waitresses, and I was like, what is this? I have no idea. Never heard anything about this. The advertisements were just like a picture of a pie, and I was a little confused. And I guess I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it is, because I had never heard of it. So there you go.
Now, Grace, you picked this out. This was your suggestion. What is your waitress story, so to say?
Okay, so like actually similar to Andrew, like I went to see this show with a friend that really loved the movie. I think like a month into its Broadway run, and I was like, oh my God, she wants to go to this like chick flick movie musical. No. I truly downplayed it. I was so annoyed. I was like, this is gonna suck. Like it's gonna be an afternoon of like the equivalent of taking a bubble bath. Like I'm just gonna be so bored by all of this feminine energy. I don't know what's wrong with me. And I I went to see it, and no joke, I was just sitting there. I was like the second row because we got like like cheap tickets right before the show where you pay like $60 and then you sit literally like on top of the actors basically. And so we're sitting there and I just watched the show unfold before me that truly changed me. Like I was so shocked at how big my laughs were. I was shocked at how much I was crying. Like it was so much better than I expected. And then I went back like a million more times to try to relive that feeling. Did I go back for the pies? Yes. Did I go back for the show? Kind of. Like it was just it moved me, and also the food was
Wait,
really
they were
good.
serving
What I'm trying to say
pies
is that
at
they
the
had
show?
good pies. Yes, my dude. They sold pies in a jar. They served you tears, warmth, and diabetes.
Excellent.
It was like I couldn't have asked for anything more. It was great.
The touring productions need to step up their game.
I want pies.
Yeah, tour.
Yeah.
I think that I don't know if they have the pies.
I didn't
don't
see
care.
them there when I saw it in tour. So
Interesting.
maybe I just got a bad group. I didn't even remember seeing a merchandise table, to be honest.
Oh my God. When did you see it?
I saw it about a year or so ago. It was in East Lansing, so bit of a drive.
Interesting.
But I also was like
Wow.
just in time because it's about a 2-hour drive and traffic is worse, so I'm like racing. So maybe I just wasn't paying attention.
You're like, okay, maybe it's a little on me about the pies.
Yeah, now that
I
I'm
don't know.
thinking about it.
Maybe all the pies are already taken. I mean, they only
Fair.
have so many pies, I'm sure.
You're correct.
So this is one of those really perfectly toned musicals because it is very, very dark in moments, very, very depressing, but it's overall a very uplifting story of someone getting out of a terrible situation and becoming better, like through her friends and her community and everything.
And her pies.
And it just makes you,
Yeah.
and her pies. Yes, her pies are very helpful.
The pies don't change. They just keep coming.
And I'm very curious as like what I can't compare this to another musical very easily in my mind because there are some musicals that come out that I'm like, oh, this is very fits into this type of category and this fits
I
into
don't
that
know.
type of category.
A woman in a troubled relationship that starts a relationship with her doctor. I feel like we've seen this one before.
Are you next to
Yeah.
normaling? Kind of. He's like, I don't know.
think that's the one.
That's what I was trying to say.
That's the one,
Which
right?
one were you think?
Can you describe it? Can you describe it for
Okay.
us, please?
Yes, describe next to normal.
Okay, someone
Yeah.
is in a
Yeah.
bad relationship and their son is dead, I think. I can't remember. And she goes to a doctor and
We 100% did an episode on Next to Normal, and that's all you remember.
and sh-
100%. I'm not gonna lie to you. You're better than a lot of young people. I feel like they're like, it's the one where like Aaron Tveit like sings and it's amazing. And I'm like, it's about mental health, but shut the fuck, you know.
it's
like, I don't-
about starting a relationship with your doctor, which is definitely not a good idea.
Oh my god. Funny we should mention past episodes because, Andrew, this is not the first musical we've covered that had songs by Sara Bareilles.
Yeah, SpongeBob. SpongeBob.
Yeah, SpongeBob.
She
Your
did the
favorite
best-
song
the
in
best
SpongeBob.
song in
She did
SpongeBob.
this. The only SpongeBob song in the SpongeBob musical.
It's true. Well, other than Best Day Ever, which is a SpongeBob song
100%.
by default.
Yes.
But that's not original, so this is the best one. That she wrote the best one. Poor pirates.
Oh, the pirate
Yeah.
song?
Yeah, that was hers.
What is it? Oh, okay. I didn't know she did that. Patchy's song.
Yes, and it's the only one that feels like the SpongeBob TV show. All the rest of them feel like alternative rock songs.
She's really great.
Yes, she is.
She's really freaking good.
Yeah, I think
And I've been sleeping on Sara Bareilles for a while because I just didn't know her work until she did Waitress. And then I
Yeah.
learned all about her incredible work after that.
Yeah, she's coming out with a new TV show on Apple TV called Little Voice. Highly recommend checking it out.
It's going to be so good. I hope she does another
Yeah.
musical, like an actual full musical someday, and get that Tony.
Yeah, she deserves it, and she's not going to stop. I mean, like, she grew up doing theater, like, locally, so it's, like, in her bones, and I don't see her quitting. So, if anything, she'll do, like, an original piece next time.
Well, that'd be great.
So, there's a lot of Tony talk.
Yep.
Who snubbed this one?
All right, let's talk about the
Yes.
year. Okay.
We talked about it a little bit last week because
everybody-
we covered Bright Star last week.
I feel like every time we have a guest on, there's somebody got snubbed at the Tonys, and I have to ask who it was.
Okay, so let me just paint you a little picture. Not to toot my horn, but I was at this Tony. Okay, I was in the rafters essentially. So chill. But like, I remember this Tony's just because it was like one of the biggest years in theater to me ever. Not like in my existence. I truly mean in life. Because you had Hamilton, you did have Bright Star, my dude.
That was definitely
and
there, yeah.
You had Waitress. See? And then Color Purple, and then School of Rock, and yeah, you had a bunch of, I'm sure I'm forgetting, Fiddler maybe. Oh, and Shuffle Along.
Mm-hmm.
Like you had so many different representations on stage that year that were really important. And then like the art that they were giving was phenomenal. I mean, like I think that the weakest link of those performances was unfortunately my baby boy Bright Star.
Oh, so you're a Bright Star defender?
I am a full-fledged Bright Star stan, and that can be its own podcast part
I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
I mean, I'm down
I'm
for
pretty
it.
sure Jess would throw Bright Star off a train into a river.
I would.
Well, hey, what other way do you end an Act 1, my guy? How else?
By fucking your doctor, obviously.
That's why we're back to Waitress!
But that must have been not even just the amount of shows being in there, or like Hamilton being the big one. That was, if you recall that day, that was a very heartbreaking day because that morning was the Pulse shooting. And it was just...
You are correct.
Yeah, that is...
And you had James Corden being like, let's have a moment of silence. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, what's...
Get out of here, James. No one likes you.
Get back in your car!
Go do Into the Woods again.
Who likes James Corden?
Badly.
Nobody likes James Corden.
The rapist that used to run CBS like James Corden, and that's why he has a show.
Oof.
That's some hard facts for you. Some hard, depressing facts.
It's straight parents that are like, I'll have that much, but never like a fully flamboyant human. Like they would never watch Andy Cohen, but they'll watch James Corden.
Yeah.
But would they watch Graham Norton?
They would never.
Never. We wouldn't even touch it.
No, we're not even going to do that. We're talking about starting relationships with doctors, and now we're at Graham Norton, and I don't love it.
That is fair. All right. So back to starting relationships with doctors. I love every single character in this show. Like all of our leads are very distinct, like setup characters with wonderful moments to shine. Even the older gentleman character, which is now being made fun of as the old actor, not really singing, but mostly speaking through a song. Like,
Old Joe?
Yes. That has been made fun of so badly. Like, if there's a role that Al Roker can step into, it's not that difficult a role to play.
What a vehicle. You know what he could have stepped into? And this is the last time we'll reference it? Bright Star. He could have thrown that baby off a train. A man's got to do what a man's got to do when a man's got to do what he's gotta. And that's all.
Oh, no.
This is Bright Star Part 2, guys. You know what? Why didn't he come and play Pomander? Like, he could have a real bad idea and seduce.
Oh, no.
He only has good ideas. After Matt Lauer, he can only have good ideas.
You know, yeah, it's fair. This is a good idea. It's not a bad idea. It's a good idea.
Right.
It was a really good bad idea, wasn't it, though? To bang Al Roker.
Wasn't it, though? Oh,
What is happening right now?
Not on my
I'm
worst day.
completely lost.
Oh, you didn't get the email where we were just gonna rate the bangability of Al Roker.
Oh,
That's what this podcast is
I'm gonna
about.
rate it a
Yeah.
zero.
It's not Waitress.
Wait, before or after the weight loss?
Both.
Oh,
Both. I think he looked like Santa Claus back when he was a little fuller. I missed that. He was like really soft.
he looked so. Yeah, he looks like a happy guy. He looks like he has a good heart.
Yeah, he looks good. Either way. Can we talk about how great almost every single one of the Jennas were? Like, Jesse Mueller, who started it, was absolutely incredible. Betsy Wolfe did an amazing job. Everyone that's played this role has made their own stamp and made it incredible.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's what's kind of the beauty of it, is that there were so many different women that stepped into the role that weren't the same type of woman. Like I don't believe that any of those women would go in for the same role in other shows.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see what I mean?
100%. And Sara Bareilles herself stepped into the role for a good period as well, which outside of like Lin-Manuel Miranda, you would never see.
No, she's just so phenomenal.
She's it's a little bit more difficult to sing than Hamilton, but she didn't quite get the credit for that, did she?
Oh, she did not. She did not.
I wonder if that had anything to do with, like, gender or anything like that.
Is this all set up for a Hamilton episode coming up?
Yeah, I mean, we're literally 3 episodes away from our Hamilton episode.
Just in time for the release. I mean, this will be great for you because you'll get to watch it not on a bootleg.
Stepping stones.
Oh, yeah.
You got Bright Star, then this,
Yeah,
then the big one.
Yeah, then, well, we got We Will Rock You in between. You should just do that whole Tony year.
Oh, yeah, we have to do We Will Rock You.
What is that? No, you don't.
It's a Patreon request. We actually have to.
That's exciting for that person. That's really cool.
Well, no, it's because they heard on my Glee podcast that I said I hate Queen.
I get to defend Queen the entire episode. I can't wait for an hour of me defending Queen from Jess.
But do you know who else is a queen? Jenna, because she went through a lot and came out stronger on the other end. So Waitress.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay. Let's talk about all the characters. We got a lot of characters, right?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so what does everyone think of the main character, Jenna? We were about to get into that.
I think she's great. Very strong, but still you understand her plight and all that. She is very empathetic altogether.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think that there's only a handful, and we're still, we're gonna keep going in this, but like in musical theater, women don't transform like that on stage. Like the way that you could, I mean, what sucks is that like everyone knows all these songs, but like if you were like a musical theater student, every one of the songs that she sings is an acting song. Like it's not where you just, park and bark. It's like, oh my God, like you're watching this woman go through her thoughts and go through like the emotional roller coaster of having a child that she didn't plan, not knowing if she's going to even love it. I mean, these are things that we've never seen women sing through before on stage. And like just watching it is incredible. So every actress that has had to play that role had to freaking show us their life, like regardless of their own experience, like just as actors, it's an amazing character to have to do that the whole show.
Mm-hmm. And can you think of any other musical theater role that's comparable to this?
I don't know. We talked about it earlier, Next to Normal. Hello. But yeah, I think, in Next to Normal, she doesn't have the same kind of like romantic aspect of the story like Jenna does.
Right.
What do y'all think?
It's usually aimed for actors. Like it's a Sondheim type thing where all the good juicy Sondheim roles are in the later half of life.
Yeah, I'm going to be 56 and doing a little night music and being like, I can finally show myself.
Ordinary mothers live ordinary lives.
Yeah, exactly.
I know, this show's a little bit...
So,
This show's a little bit more palatable than Next to Normal as well. Goes down a little easier.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean...
Like a pie.
Like a pie.
Okay. I want to talk about Dawn a little bit, because she is secretly, I think, the key ingredients for why this show works so well.
Okay.
Dawn is my favorite character.
I 100% understand that.
My favorite character, and I'm gonna tell you why.
Okay. No. Why?
Because I want to hear your breakdown of this as well. But when I saw this, I am from Georgia. I am Japanese American. I watched Kimiko Glenn on stage be a funny Southern. I mean, do we know where this takes place? Not really. Who gives a shit? But like,
it's Alabama.
I don't care. It is for now. But sure. But like, she's this Asian American girl playing a Southern character. I had never seen that. I have never seen that, like, in my life. I don't know if I'll ever see it again. But like, the fact that it started out with someone that you wouldn't conventionally see in that type of part, and nobody batted an eye. It wasn't part of the plot. They weren't like, but your Asian heritage tells us. Like, no one gave a shit. It wasn't part of the script, which I thought was super important. Especially coupled with the fact that like girls do go through this anxiety at that certain age. Like there's women out there that are like, I don't know how to do this. But yeah, like there's just so much, and the humor's so great. And I was really disappointed, to be honest, like later in the, even though the people that have covered it, let me just say this, are amazing. Like Caitlin Houlihan, all these other girls that have played Dawn's part, they're great. But I was kind of disappointed that they didn't continue to honor that start of having it as an Asian American girl, because I thought that was kind of cool and important. But yeah, so that's just my take.
I agree with that, and I actually have a question for you just in general, because recently in musical theater there has been a conversation about how races play a role in how people are casted and all that. And recently, I don't remember the name, but there was a open letter written where it's like, yes, a lot of African American people, quote unquote, are getting casted in roles, but they're not getting casted in roles as black people. They're getting casted in basically these race neutral roles where they just step into it. Kind of like how Todrick Hall stepped into a role in Waitress where the race really didn't matter, but he still came in and played it in his own way. And I was curious if you saw
Yeah, that was weird.
I kind of like
being seen as a negative thing or as a positive thing or what?
They're seeing it as a negative thing because it feels like there's no black voice, but a lot of black bodies being used to fill a white voice, so to say.
You know, I think that everyone on this pod right now, we can't really speak to like what black voices.
Oh, 100%. I was just asking you as an Asian American and how you saw that similar situation.
Right. Like for me personally, I loved it, and I loved that they didn't have to reference it. But I could understand if like another Asian American actor were to see it and, you know, see like white people come into that role later on and they feel like, well, wait, no, we had that one thing, you know? So I guess from my own perspective, like I totally understand the idea that like someone's heritage and voice should be honored. I just, as I was watching it, I didn't feel like they had to reference it in that moment. But that's not to say that if the script were different, where they did bring up something that might be culturally insensitive and then them not respond to it would be kind of problematic.
Oh, 100%.
You know?
I just speaking as a white man, it's not a world that I live in, so I was just very curious.
I get you. Yeah. I don't know. I guess just on my end, I really loved that there was an opportunity there that I had never seen before. And it felt really cool. I want to see more.
And Kimiko Glenn is just perfect. Perfect in that role.
Yeah, she was so funny. Unfortunately, her time in that show was very short.
But she's gone on to...
Like, she didn't, I don't think, even stay to the Tony time.
Wow.
Like, she performed, but she, yeah. It was very short.
But she's gone on to have a great career. Like, she was even in Into the Spider-Verse and all that. She's kept on going.
Oh yeah, she's amazing. I mean, and again, like when I was young, I saw her in the national tour of Spring Awakening. And again, I was like, oh my God, this Asian American girl is in this rockin' show that I've always dreamed of being in. And I've never seen Asian American people in musical theater on stage. You just don't see it that often.
There's not many roles for it.
Aside from,
so the fact that she has stuck out for me twice is kind of troubling, right?
Well, I don't mean to ask your age or anything, but a lot of folks saw Lea Salonga and now are seeing Ava Noblezada in roles like Hadestown and like really identifying with that.
Oh, definitely. What sucks is that you can name 2 people, right? Can you name 15?
Not 15, but I'm lucky if I can name 15.
Right.
Don't worry. I can't name
off the top of my head most
I
days,
can't
though.
name anyone, so I can name 0.
Because I agree with you. Like Lea Salonga is like one of the Asian American musical theater icons. Eva Noblezada is also one of them. We've got B.D. Wong, and we've got Ann Harada, like it's just like a small amount.
Does Mako count? Mako, not Mako.
Is it Mako? Is Mako like a shark?
Mako, I think, is a shark, but Mako was the guy from Pacific Overtures.
Right. Oh my God, R.I.P. Pacific Overtures. Where's that episode?
We've done that episode.
We did that one. It was. I love that show so much.
I have the album next to me. It's in my Sondheim album file.
B.D. Wong is incredible in Pacific Overtures, by the way. I know you interviewed him recently, but...
Yeah.
That's all I would... If I was in a room with him, I'd just be like, tell me more about Pacific Overtures.
You know what's funny? Can I just tell you this and we'll get back on the Waitress bandwagon
Yes.
just quickly? I was doing the BD Wong episode and we were, because I've known him because like my husband was doing a reading for Mr. Holland's Opus, which he's writing. And so, yeah, it's a movie musical adaptation, but the way he's doing it's really cool. Anyways, we're recording the podcast. And then I, that day, had an audition for Law and Order SVU, and I was panicking about filming it. And I had to film it right after he left. And after I did it, I was like, I'm such a dumbass. I had a guy who was on Law and Order with me for an hour and a half for like 15 years. And then I didn't ask him, like, hey, would you do this self-tape with me? Like, not that I would do that. It's just like, wow, what a turn. Anyways, here we are. So, so Don's the best character. Thought?
I agree. In the same way, like, the secondary couple is very important in a lot of classic musicals too. And here, like, with Jenna's story, it's really, really dark and depressing, and you need just something that's pure and positive and fun. And Kimiko, Glenn, and Dawn's entire subplot just makes you feel good inside.
Online dating works.
It does, sometimes.
Apparently.
I remember the first time, does it? The first time Ogie does that big number, when he kind of like introduces himself to everyone. No joke, Chris Fitzgerald, every time I saw him perform this, people would stop and clap for a while afterward. I've never seen that happen every single time I see him. You know, that's crazy. That's how good.
His first number, the one with the title Never Ever Getting Rid of Me, which is a bit ominous.
Yes. It is great,
yes,
though.
you're correct. Listen, it's all in how you say it.
It's not creepy, guys.
Yeah.
What?
Because a guy saying you're never, ever, 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 ever getting rid of me, I'm like, well, I'm calling the cops.
I mean, if
so...
Earl sang that song, which he could have sung that song, it would be a little different.
Yeah.
What a turn, though, that would have been if right before She Used to Be Mine, he does his own version of that. Can you
It would
imagine?
have been interesting.
Yes, like a dark reprise. Holy shit.
Yeah, that's upsetting. We should call Sarah. Tell her.
No, let's talk about Sarah, but first we gotta go into a mid-show announcement. Hey, sorry to interrupt you in the middle of the show, but I've got to shill at you. Here's our Patreon, people. Our current patrons are Terry Needleman, Max Lunig, Benjamin Lehrer, Lily Ackles, John Donna, Taryn the Duck, The Fantastic, Jess Lightning, Ewan Cassidy, Haley McDonald, Taskier, Fire September, Mina Maneri, Monica Thoreau, Brent Black, Haley Murray, Allison Wonderland, B-Way Flicks, Nathaniel Stacy Coombe, Joseph Evans Green, Luna Rocks 222, Irigale Drouet Whiter, Carrie Ahern, Christine Malmedel, Mezzanine Theater Diary, Mary Lou Choquette, Ann Nunnally, Cole Birchfield, John Van Els, Holly Stistically, Russ Walker, Musical Hell, Emily Grace, Andrew Van Barson, Emily Stack, Kyle Summers, Mr. B, Janae C, Kyle, just Kyle, Christina Francis, Jessica A, Skylar, Liz Lim, Corey Wilmarth, and Allison Stuller. They're all supporting us on Patreon and getting stuff that you're not, so how about you go and join them and we'll read your name every week. All right, that's all we gotta say now. Let's get back to the show.
Wow, what a sell.
Wow,
was
we did a
good.
great job.
No, I was upset at the end because I was like, I want the
Didn't even specify what good things, but they're getting them.
Till we do it again.
Come on, moving now.
Opening up, every day. Opening up, some things never change. Hello, how you been? Thank you, come again. Some things never change.
Let's talk about opening up really quick and how perfect it is as an opening number.
So, like, the perfect opening number of any musical sets up the world, right? And the fact that, like, within just seconds, you're like, every day is the same. You're like, I can relate. and especially right now in quarantine. But yeah, it sets up the world and the characters so perfectly. Everyone has a little vignette solo that you need to care about, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's really fucking concise and perfect.
Mm-hmm. And also, it's funny. Like, you get a lot of jokes in there, which you don't often see in opening numbers because it has to do too many things at once. Andrew, got any thoughts?
I really like the little sugar, butter, flour thing that they do through the whole show. I like it a lot. I don't know.
You bring the deep analysis here, Andrew.
What?
The deep
What
one.
analysis do you want from me?
It's so
What are we
pure.
gonna-
that
We're gonna
day.
dive into the lyrics here. Like, what do you want me to do? Sugar, butter, flour. It's great, and they bring it back over and over again. I love it.
You know what it is, Andrew? Can I
Sure.
just say what happens is people go to see the show and they kind of black out
Yeah.
sometimes because New York can be hot and you're tired. And what happens is if they continue to repeat that, you will then know how to bake, and that's the point of the show.
Well, yeah.
Is learning how to bake. So the fact that you got that from that, they did their job.
So if I want to bake,
Wow.
I sugar and then I butter and then I flour.
You're making it sound so sexual.
Ooh,
No.
it's supposed to be.
I mean, yeah.
God. I mean, I think it's most supposed to be kind of because then we find out she's pregnant.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
right
she's
after what's
cooking.
inside, and she says,
She's cooking something in her oven
Yeah.
the whole show.
"What a mess she's making."
Yes.
Um,
Well. All right. Yeah.
that went off the rails.
It's a
All
show
right,
about pie.
Let's talk. It is a show about pie,
It is.
domestic abuse too, and a little bit of romance, but mostly pie.
90%
Mostly
pie.
That's how I sell it to any man.
Really?
There's some cute stuff, and then you see like Ogie eating Dawn out for a bit.
Yep.
Yeah,
Right? Isn't
I
that-
remember
am I
that
right?
happening.
Yeah.
He
so
ate her pie.
It's really raunch. It's amazing. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, it's raunchy from a female perspective, which is rare in Broadway and even pretty rare in film. It reminds me a lot of Booksmart,
Yeah.
which is a great film, and I've brought up before on this,
Yeah.
where that is very raunchy, but from a female perspective, where it feels very necessary, awkward, and real.
Yeah, I think that like a lot of times when women are finally put in places where they can write about the sexualization of themselves, people are really surprised by it because in so many depictions of like film, TV, theater, what have you, women are these like sweet flowers and men are like bloodthirsty sex goblins. So like when you finally see it, you're like, wow. And it's like women are always horny, chill. I mean, not, but like, you know, they're just as horny as dudes. And like, I love that this musical kind of like showcases that everyone's sexual appetite is on display in this one musical number. It's great.
Humans are just
Yeah, this
horny
show's great.
creatures, and we just need to accept that. We wouldn't
And bake pies.
exist if we didn't have pies.
Let's talk about...
The pie
Let's
is
talk
a
about when he
metaphor,
sees
Jess.
me. Let's talk about when he sees me, which is amazing.
I stick with real things, usually facts and figures. When information's in its place, I minimize the guessing game. Guess what?
What?
I don't like guessing games or when I feel things before I know the feelings. How am I supposed to operate if I'm just tossed around by fate? Like on an unexpected date with a stranger who might talk too fast or ask me questions about myself before I've decided that he can ask me questions about myself. He might sit too close or call the waiter by his first name or eat Oreos, but eat the cookie before the cream. But what scares me the most, is what if when he sees me, what if he doesn't like it? What if he runs the other way and I can't hide from it? What happens then if when he knows me, he's only disappointed
you're first of all, I love that you're such a big Dawn stan. It's such a good number. It's so funny. It showcases like everyone's anxieties about dating, you know?
You see, it's a very neurotic view of dating, which is like, I could be very nitpicky, but I'm really, really, really just scared that either they won't like me or I'll like them too much, which is very accurate.
Yeah.
It's a 5-minute date, though.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not even a real date. Who goes on a date for 5 minutes?
But this girl doesn't leave her house and she eats only lean cuisine. So you tell me.
Well, she goes to her
She's in
job.
pretty good shape for only doing... Well, she is a waitress. That does require a lot of standing.
I just think it's weird that they fall in love because they're both, like, patriots. Like, they're very obsessed with the founding fathers.
You only have to have one thing in common. And if their king is the Revolutionary War, have their kink, because I don't want it.
You know, tricorn hats are kind of sexy.
See, you even knowing that, I don't even understand.
Wow.
It's all a
I don't
lead
remember that scene in Hamilton.
It's all a lead up to our Hamilton episode. Everything is a lead up to Hamilton.
Everything ever is now a lead into.
How do we tie
I can't
everything
wait
into
until Hamilton just is a thing that used to exist.
What?
Like Wicked?
Yeah, kind of like Wicked. Like the Wicked movie, they waited too long on that. Nobody cares anymore.
Well, you know, it's funny is that like a friend of mine and I were actually talking about this in another recording, what have you, but he was talking about how when he met Steven Schwartz and he was talking about when is there going to be a Wicked movie? You know, when are we going to have that? Because you guys have been talking about it. And they basically said that, like, you don't make a movie adaptation of a musical that's on Broadway still until you don't release it and start making it even until sales have dropped to their lowest point. So, like, Hamilton movie coming out next year is because that was their projected idea of when the tickets were going to be at their lowest in sales that they've ever been. Well, doesn't mean that they're not doing well.
Well, they
just that
projected
that's
it
the
right.
lowest.
The
so then
ticket
having
sales
to,
are at like 0 right now.
You are correct. Right. So that's why they're bringing it to everyone's homes, because it's like, well, we're going to make money on this now because we can't make money on Broadway at all. So anytime you see a movie musical come out with a show that's still on Broadway, they're ramping up excitement again to boost sales.
But the thing is, Hello Dolly specifically had the opposite issue, where it was doing really well on Broadway and they had pre-sold the movie rights. And then there was like a whole debate, and like the contract said if the Broadway show loses any funds, the movie will have to reimburse that from its own. Like, it was that insane.
Yeah. Wasn't this like the 60s though,
Yeah, come
or the
on,
70s?
Jess. You
I
can't
think it was
compare
late
that.
60s.
Yeah, they're dumb people.
Yeah, maybe they are just dumb people.
From you, Mama, it's amazing what baking can do. Make it up and surprise them. Tell them all my secrets, but disguise them so they dance on the tongues of the very people that their secrets from. Make it soon, make it better, though better never last forever. I'll make it small so it fits. Even this, even now, even as the walls come tumbling down, even as I can't stop remembering how every door we ever made, we never once walked out.
The best song in the show is What Baking Can Do. And I have never in my life heard a song that confused me into thinking it was about one thing, which is what baking
Right.
can do. And then the twist, it's about shoveling your feelings into your work as a creative person. Wow, what? So like her being like, okay, so like mix this in, and then also like this self-doubt, And then you get the reveal that she watched her mother be put through a domestic abuse situation. And like she watched it her whole life, right? And now she finds herself in that same place. And that's heartbreaking. Like that song tells the story of Jenna in like 3 minutes, which still blows my noodle. It's the best song in the show. It pisses me off that it's not the one that, because we're going to get to the big song. But to me, that song is like the iconic Jenna moment.
I agree. And it's the closest thing she really has to an I Want song because of the specific way that the story has to unfold in this. She can't really have an I Want song until after she finds out about the pregnancy. So This is a little wonkier structure than most musical theater, but it works so perfectly right here where she's just hit rock bottom and sees like everything's gonna get worse. And she's like, I want all this and I need to ignore all this and this is what I need to do and this is all I want. And then how that changes over the course of the story. It also sets it up perfectly as a form of an I Want song.
Yeah.
I think the structure
Andrew.
of shows like this get all messed up when they're based off of a movie. Because movies don't structure themselves the same way. So
No, they do not.
you can't talk about structure when it's movie-based, I don't think.
I think you can. It's worth bringing up, but it's also worth pointing out when it works.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Interesting. So here we are at Bad Idea. Is that where we're at?
we're doing Bad Idea now, I guess.
That sounds like a good idea.
It's a bad idea, me and you.
I know, I totally agree. It's a bad idea, me and you. I've never known anything so true. It's a terrible idea, me and you.
You have a wife,
You have a husband.
you're my doctor.
You got a baby coming.
It's a bad idea, me and you.
Let's just keep kissing till we come to. Heart stop racing, let's face it. Making mistakes like this will make worse what was already pretty bad. Mine stop running, it's time we just let this thing go. It was a pretty good bad idea, wasn't it though? It's a bad idea, me and you. It's a bad idea, me and you. Hold me close while I think this through.
This is when they have sex with the
Every
doctor.
time I would go.
Yeah, it's a pretty good bad idea. It's very rare that
Yeah.
just a upbeat duet is the act one closer. It's no throwing a baby off a train is what I'm telling you.
I find the doctor's a little
Well,
weird.
there never will be.
I don't like the doctor character in this whole thing. I don't know.
Can I ask what bootleg you watched, as in what cast?
He watched the one with Todrick Hall and
Colleen.
yeah, Colleen. Yeah, that one. I don't remember. I think it might have been Andy Carl.
Miranda sings.
I think it might have been Andy Carl as the doctor.
Andy Carl was Dr. Pomander?
I think so. Maybe I'm wrong.
Or was it Drew Gayling, like the OG?
No, it was not Drew Gayling.
Okay. Yeah, so I feel like every Dr. Pomander was very freaking different. All of their senses of humor were they all varied a lot. So I am like kind of curious who you saw. But yeah, like this song I think it's cringy because every woman in the audience is like, "Ooh, yeah, get it, girl." And then half the audience is like, "Oh no, you're cheating on your husband." Like it's half and half being like, "Yeah, get it," but also, "Oh no, babe, don't."
Yeah, but they've
Like-
already done the song to show that the husband is the worst person ever to exist. So,
Yep.
Yeah, but then is that
Yes.
okay?
Yes, it is very much okay. Yeah, get
You've
out of
decided
there.
it's okay. Okay. All
I've
right.
decided it's okay.
She didn't even need a red dress for the doctor.
We don't need this to be a prequel
No.
to My Name is Earl, where we pretend Earl is the good guy. He's not.
Can I just say this? Famously in all things, Earl is never a good guy. Earl had to die, Dixie chick. Earl and Waitress, bad dude. Show me a good Earl, and I'll show you a pie.
There is no good Earl.
Earl Grey tea.
If you're named Earl, you're a
Yeah.
bad person.
Yeah, Earl.
If you're named Earl, you need
Yeah,
to stop.
Earl. We're talking to you, Earl.
This podcast brought to you by your #1 Patreon, Earl.
No! No!
If Earl donates if an Earl donates $50 to us, we will have to shut our show down because we are not going to be
Shut
funded.
it down, everybody.
We're not going to be funded by the evil empire, Earl Pyre.
Earl Pyre.
It's terrible.
Oh, God.
I've given up.
So
I'm
I
done.
guess my question is, do we like the song? Is that where we
I
got?
think that's it. I
Do
feel
we
like
like the
I
song?
like every song to a certain extent. Like,
Is there any song that any of us dislike? I think is the question.
yeah, really, because I don't think I have one.
I feel like okay. I guess I'll give this criticism.
Go.
Becky's "I Didn't Plan It" song.
Okay.
I felt like could have been just longer. Like I like it. I just wanted her to have a longer moment because I thought that song was kind of important for her. Because Dawn gets like 2 numbers where she gets to kind of like explore herself. And I kind of wish that Becky had that moment as well because she's like freaking going through it. Like at one point they even say that like she has to change her husband's diapers. I'm like, whoa. This is like much deeper. This is deeper than we were thinking, you know, like she goes home and has to physically like be a caretaker to the person that she was, you know, romantically tied to. It's just a different scenario. And I just wanted more.
Yeah, that's its own musical. Like, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Can I talk a little bit and be critical of a song that's not even in the show, but bothers me to very, very high degree?
Acid reflux is first, then bladders will burst. Surprise, incontinence, backaches and headaches. It's all for the knocked up you. Your hemorrhoids will itch, and you'll be a bitch, and be called one behind your back. These symptoms never seem to stop for the knocked up you. Knock, knock, who's there? Knocked up who? Knocked up you. Knock, knock, who's there? Knocked up who? Knocked up you.
This is
Sure.
specifically from the What's Not Inside, the Lost Songs from Waitress, an album released by Sara Bareilles of her demos. And specifically the song Knocked Up You bothers me a lot.
Oh gosh.
I do not like this song. I am very glad that
I don't think I even
Club Knocked
know
Up
this
is
song. This isn't in the show.
Well, there's a reason.
This was replaced in the current show with I think it's Club Knocked Up, which is much more catchy, much more of a fun number, where this one's like, and your hemorrhoids will itch and you'll act like a bitch. And
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, this is
You know, do you not like it because of the way it sounds or what it's saying?
I think just generally it's kind of the way it sounds is very like mellow paced and just kind of droning, as well as the words they're saying
Okay.
are unpleasant to listen to. So it's like,
Well, pregnancy's not pleasant.
oh, I agree. But I think
But I get you.
that Club Knocked Up conveys that better and gives you a little bouncy jolt for it. Where at least there's
and
a
like the whole
Oh.
no, like what works in that song, the way they included it in the show, is that like they're joyfully singing about being knocked up, which is so funny. You know, like it just provides this like laugh in a weird moment.
and it's a good laugh. It's a fun laugh. Like, yeah, and the harmonies are nice.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be a little critical of one song just because it's a trope that I don't like.
Okay.
And it is "Take It From an Old Man" or /man.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
I don't know. This one's not. I kind of agree. This one's not that great.
I skip this one every time it's on the album.
Oh, for sure. But when I'm in that theater and that little old man, originated by Dakin Matthews of Gilmore Girls, shout out. When he sings Take It From an Old Man, my bitch ass cries. And I'm sorry, but it does. And I get it. It's kind of silly and kind of a waste and kind of like an old man just kind of swaying side to side and talking to himself. But we stand. We stand.
It's like it's
The title alone just sounds filthy to me out of context.
Oh, you take it from an old man.
I take it from an old man.
Look, it's a show about pies, okay, Jess?
I don't.
Exactly my point.
Yeah.
All right, do we have to talk about She Used to Be Mine, because everyone knows that song?
No.
Like that's
No, we don't.
We're not even gonna address it. Sorry, that song.
We don't have
That
to.
song's gone. Nice song. Bye.
Two tiny hands, a pair of eyes, an unsung melody is mine.
Yep.
I love Everything Changes as a finale number, mostly because it's kind of rare that you have a brand new like song at the end of the show. Sure, they do reprise opening up a little bit at the end, but it feels like it reminds me of You Can't Stop the Beat from Hairspray, where you got this like really pleasant
Holy shit.
number at the end.
You did not. Yeah.
In the way that I'm saying there's a brand new number that you just feel happy hearing at the very end of the show.
It really reminds me of
Right.
Hairspray. I think
Fair
the real
enough.
comparison is Hairspray, yeah.
Oh, no.
Guys, I gotta go.
Oh,
I gotta go.
Oh, no.
I can't do this.
You got some high
but
negative thoughts about
I
Hairspray?
I'll put it this way. At the Fox Theater in Atlanta, when I was in middle school, I guess, or no, I was younger, seeing the national tour, my grandmother took me, and she, halfway through the show, fell asleep and then looked at me and said, "Why won't they stop singing?" And I said, "I don't know." I said, "It's a musical." And she goes, "They need to stop." And then they retorted with, "You can't stop the beat." And I was like, I need this show to stop forever.
We solved
That is the
racism.
best story. One fat girl
Gotta
solved racism all by herself.
Yeah, and then she yelled the N-word in an airport at a woman.
Yes, she
and
did.
like
That's just the movie. Don't you go hating on the original Broadway cast. Just the movie. Nikki Blonsky. What a
Really?
terrible person.
That actually happened?
yes!
Oh my god, she actually
a
did
piece of
solve
crap.
racism. Wow.
She did. She doesn't see
Yeah.
color. She just
Don't
sees
worry,
hate.
guys. Obama gave her the N-word pass. It's okay.
Oh,
Terrible. I can't believe she's like getting this like TikTok resurgence. I'm like, this is why we've
Are
got
you
to shut
serious
this app down.
though? Like, she yelled the
Yeah.
N-word. You don't
Yes.
get to recover from that.
Oh, her mother and father attacked this woman in the airport because I don't even know. I
because
don't
she
know
was
the
next to
origin
their
of the
stuff.
story.
Because she was next to their like
Yes.
bags and stuff. And they didn't know.
The mother had to be airlifted.
But they didn't know that she was a part of America's next top model, right? And so she was able to like, yo, this happened and it's fucked up what happened. And I agree, it's fucked up what happened.
Yeah. We're just trying to say that Hairspray sucks. Let's move on.
Hairspray sucks, and Nikki Blonsky, please go back to obscurity.
Please.
Yeah, bye.
Opening up.
All right, I think we gotta
So
move on
my wonderful people. What is your guys' overall thoughts on Waitress and your cheese rating? Grace, you've listened to an episode or two of our show. Do you know about our cheese rating?
Can you I just listened to the Fun Home one, which was quite interesting because it's one of my favorite shows. But can you explain the cheese rating now for me?
Basically, I'm just going to let Andrew do it, and you'll kind of get the gist.
Okay.
There is
Okay, let's
no
go.
rules. Andrew, your overall thoughts and your cheese rating.
All right. I was pleasantly surprised. I was expecting this to be pretty mediocre because I hadn't heard much about it, and it's actually really good. The music is all solid, and I like the story they tell with it. So I recommend it. I don't have much more to say though. As far as a cheese rating, I'm gonna give it cheesecake. Because I'm pretty sure you bake cakes. Is that right? I think so. So I'm gonna give it cheesecake.
All right.
Yeah.
So basically, it's just give a cheese that generally makes you
Yeah.
feel like the show.
Okay. Okay. First of all, I love cheese. That's what drew me to your podcast.
Well, cheese is
anyway,
delicious and honestly the best thing
Yes.
ever to be created by man or women.
Man or women. So because you said that, I think that Waitress is a super duper important show beyond the fact that like it's a good show. Because it had an entirely female creative team. It came out of ART. It had Diane Paulus. It had Adrienne Shelley. It had Sara Bareilles. And I feel like it opened a lot of recognition and doors for women, or like female creatives, in the musical space. And beyond that, it's also like really damn good. It's not like, oh, it's good and, you know, it's important because all these women did it. No, it just shows you that like a blockbuster musical can happen when you have all women. It's going to be okay. It doesn't have to be the same team with Scott Rudin. You know, it doesn't have to be the formula, you know, it doesn't have to do that. And it was still a movie musical and it still kicked ass. So I think it's really important in the grand scheme of musical theater. and it's a bop. I think that you could revive this every freaking year with new people and it would still slam. What happens in the show is like universal for a lot of people. Like 1 in 4 women are sexually assaulted. 1 in 71 men are. So I'm not discounting that men are. It does happen.
But
like it's a much more close to
What the fuck?
Well, who knows? Our prison system
Yes, it is.
Yes.
But like but yeah, so like I feel like a lot of women watch the show and they find themselves in it somehow. And even the men do maybe. And I'll just say this, even though I will get to the cheese because we didn't talk about it. Earl to me is one of the most the people that have played Earl, some of them better than others. But like I'm going to specifically talk about my friend Joe Tippett because when he was Earl, he created this nuanced abuser character that I thought was so good in comparison to a lot of other guys because they just want to be like, I'm a bad guy. I hit Jana. And like the way Joe played it was like you liked him sometimes and you were really uneasy. And I'm like, that is a realistic abuser situation. Like, not to say that there's not shitty guys out there, but the guy that can play like that he's enjoyable, that there's redeeming qualities. He's good around people, but then behind closed doors, he's a different person. Like that was amazing to watch on stage because I don't get to see it that often, especially in musicals. Plays, yeah, maybe. So all of these characters just gave us so much, so many important performances. And I have to say, my cheese rating for this show would be, hold your breath, a camembert en croûte. Why? Why a camembert en croûte? It's soft in the center, kind of like a pie. It's wrapped in like phyllo dough or like a puff pastry with like a kind of like creamy or like a strawberry preserve barrier between the cheese and the puff pastry and then baked, I don't know, kind of like a fucking pie. And then you get it out and then you cut into it and it's like all oozy and lovely. And you came out with this like package that on top kind of looks like a puff pastry, but on the inside is all these things. And that's Waitress.
Yum, yum. Our guests always think of the better cheeses than we do.
They really do. They put a lot of effort into that.
They think.
I don't want to.
I give a lot of fucks.
I think they think that we put a lot of effort into it, and then they come on the show and they realize that we don't at all.
Yeah, I was surprised.
You were surprised at how lazy Andrew's answer was. All right, so let me go into mine very briefly. I don't really want to follow Grace because she had such a great, eloquent answer, but it really did not get the love it deserved quite at first, but it has since developed that attention that I think that a show like this really, really is warranted. In any other season, it would have taken every Tony Award, and I kind of wish it had. But overall, it's a great show. If it's on tour, if it's around you, highly recommend you see it. I feel like this is going to be a really great, like, high school and college show, too. Eventually when those licensings go out, like, this is so fun and so energized, but also so important in telling stories that you don't often see in musical theater. Unless you want a really bastardized version in, like, Carousel, which, ugh. So my cheese rating is a big old slice of American cheese slapped on top of an apple pie, because apparently in the Midwest, people do that.
What?
Yeah. My grandma used to do that all the time. She'd put, like, a slice of cheese on top of her slice of apple pie, and I'm like, you're insane, woman.
What?
I know.
That sounds kind of nasty, to be honest.
Hey, but you don't know.
You never know. I mean, to be fair,
yes,
it is adding cheese, and adding cheese to anything is generally a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Amen.
All right. Grace, thank you for coming on. I want you to take the time to promote everything you've got. I just want you to spit it out there. I love your podcast so much. The Drew Gasparini episode was specifically wonderful.
Yeah. Oh, I love him. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. So my podcast is Tell Me on a Sunday, and you can find it on Instagram, Tell Me on a Sunday podcast. You can listen to it if you actually want to. I am on like Spotify, iTunes, literally every podcast platform like you guys. Tell Me on a Sunday. And if you want to stalk me on Instagram, it's Grace Aki at GraceAki. And then if you want to follow my Twitter, it's a little weird, but you can also do that. And it's Grace Aki-chan, GraceAkiChan.
And she's wonderful on Twitter. And her podcast, she's really, really good at interviewing in a way that it doesn't feel like an interview. And specifically, it just kind of feels like a very natural conversation, but you can tell Grace did very much amount of research, but still keeping it naturalistic. It's wonderful.
Oh, thank you. You know what I want to be? Because the whole podcast is like storytelling. I just want to be like the storytelling podcast that is, if you like Hot Ones, you will like mine. Those two things don't match, but I just like the idea that someone would watch Hot Ones on YouTube and then also listen to my podcast and be like, I like both these things.
Yeah, I think that's a very apt comparison between the two. And you're relatively new. You just started up in March, right?
Yeah. And of course, like all of this kind of has stalled my production a little bit just being in quarantine, but everything had been recorded prior. It's just that like cranking it out feels a little weird at times. But yeah, we're still chugging along through season 1 and then we'll start season 2 in the fall. So yeah, we just started.
It's going to be big, guys. So you want to get on the ground floor of this.
Yeah. Oh, I do have a Patreon, but you guys are like impressing me so much with, I just was looking at all of your amazing perks. You guys, if you're not on the Patreon list for this musical podcast, you
Guys,
must.
Yes,
we will read your
there's tons of
name
stuff.
incorrectly.
And I really do like your names on your segments on your Patreon, because your $2 a month is Robin Sparkles, your $5 is Eliza
my
Doolittle,
cat's name.
and your $8 Aggressive.
Yeah. Well, I just need them to know that I appreciate their aggression, and I will also be that aggressive on them.
Access to mini episodes that's just for you, baby, and they're juicy.
Whatever I have to do. Again, this is my OnlyFans for my podcast.
Yes. You know what? Wouldn't that be great to get an OnlyFans and then they pay the subscription service and then it's just you? So tell me about Broadway, BD Wong.
Oh no, you gave away my next.
Oh no, I took your idea.
It's just BD Wong though. It's not me. It's just him
Oh
talking.
no.
Yeah.
And then you just, like, every 20 minutes or, like, 0.1 frame, there's, like, random nudity of random people.
And it's not even
No,
me. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. So, thank you guys for listening. Please go check out Grace's content. I wholeheartedly recommend it. I really, really do listen to it myself, and it's brand new, so you can just follow along, see where it goes. It's not established, so it can go anywhere here. It's great thing about new podcasts.
True. Thank you so much.
But thank you guys for listening, and please follow us on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher. We're all there at Musicals with Cheese. Our Twitter is at Cheesy Musicals. Our Patreon is Musicals with Cheese. Our Instagram is Musicals with Cheese. Our YouTube, the same. Our Patreon, we have the Glee podcast going on there once a week, every Friday. We got Glee podcast going up there. You're missing out if you're not involved. We had guests. We had Rachel Ferrat from the Elsie cast on, and she was talking positively about Glee because she had some positive things to say. So we're not just a Negative Nelly podcast, let me tell you that. If you want to shoot us an email about how terrible we are, come shoot us an email at musicaltheaterlives@gmail.com.
And we are terrible.
Our title card is... Yes, we are. Reach out to Andrew if you have any interest in merch, because God, I'm not fucking doing that.
T-shirts.
Contact
Who knows what? Something good.
Contact him at Hey Ductor on Twitter and just fill up his inbox, DM him, tell him what you want, because I don't care. Don't talk to me about that. Our title card is created by Jolene Casco. Follow her on Instagram at Jolene Casco. She's amazing. Andrew, she did the logo for your band, didn't she?
She did. Twice
Yeah,
now.
go reach out and tell her that we sent you. Tell her that we sent you specifically.
All right.
I just followed her just now.
Isn't she great?
She's so good. She's really good, you guys. Go follow her. It's not hard. I just fucking did it.
Yeah, do it right now. I know a couple of you haven't done it, so get onto it.
We're watching you.
We're watching you. You might not know we're watching you, but we're watching you. All right, Grace, is there anything else you want to say before we wrap this on up?
I just want to say thank you guys so much for having me on. This was really fun, and I really do love this podcast. So thanks for still, doing this in quarantine, and this is awesome. So thank you.
If you ever want to come back on, or you have something you want to talk about, feel free to slide into the DMs and be like, hey, I really have something to say about Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again. So can I be
Mamma
on your
Mia.
podcast to say
I
it?
will never say a goddamn thing about
We'll
Mamma Mia.
have to have you
Okay?
back for our hairspray episode, which we've already done.
We already did a hairspray
All right, this was
episode.
fun. Thanks.
I mean, we already basically did a Bright Star episode within our Waitress episode.
I will integrate that fucking show into every aspect of my life. I am not sorry.
You should be. All right, guys, we'll see you next time on Musicals with Cheese.